You're watching Real Simple News with Cale McCullough on June 3rd, 2020. Had a little accident at the end of the show and my article disappeared, but it was in the title of the thumbnail. So here is the missing article from the show. I knew there was more articles, but they just jumped and disappeared and I didn't notice. This article is from the Daily Mail and it says DOJ releases mostly unredacted memo of scope of Special Counsel Robert Mueller's Russia probe. The Justice Department has recently released a mostly unredacted version of a memo outlining the scope of former Special Counsel Robert Mueller's investigation into Russian meddling in the 2016 presidential election. The memo, penned by the then acting Attorney General Rod Rosenstein in August 2020, had long been sought by Republicans who believed it would reveal that Mueller and his team had exceeded their authority by probing members of the President Donald Trump's campaign team. The DOJ on Wednesday provided a less redacted version of the memo to Senate Judiciary Chairman Lindsey Graham, who requested it earlier this week. It includes a bulleted list authorizing Mueller to investigate specific allegations against former Trump campaign advisor Carter Page, former Trump National Security Advisor Mike Flynn, former Trump campaign foreign policy advisor George Papadopoulos, and former Trump campaign manager Paul Manafort. A fifth bullet point remains redacted in the new version, indicating that it likely referred to somebody who was never charged in the investigation. The Justice Department on Wednesday released a mostly redacted version of a memo that then acting Attorney General Rod Rosenstein wrote to Robert Mueller in August 2017, outlining the scope of the former special counselor's investigation into Russian meddling in the 2016 presidential, which sparked MSNBC to start flying all these conspiracy theories around, sparking all of these BLM Antifa Nazi protests. The first bullet point tasks Mueller with determining whether Page committed a crime by colluding with Russian officials if they interfered with the 2016 election. The allegations echoed claims leveled against him in the unverified anti-Trump dossier compiled by ex-British spy Christopher Steele. At the time of the memo, the FBI and DOJ knew the dossier had potentially been compromised by Russian disinformation. I mean, we should have assumed that one. I remember I attempted to get a writ of mandamus against Jeff Sessions to get him to follow his job. I don't remember what the hell it was goddamn for. Obviously, it wasn't that important because I was a radicalized liberal back then, believing all this BS from the mainstream media. But the Steele dossier is absolutely crazy, dude. It's obviously Russian disinformation. Obviously, now that you look at it from the standpoint of, well, this is just what Russians have been doing for a long time. They basically made it look like Trump was coordinating with them, but it actually wasn't. He was actually innocent. Because there was all this stuff that was in that dossier that was just way out there, like Trump having hookers in the hotel room and peeing on the bed, having them do golden showers, and then there's the Rosneft sold some percentage of their that's Putin's oil company, Rosneft. They sold some percentage of their shares to give what was supposed to be a bribe money, quote unquote. Everybody just fell for it. It's I think this Steele guy's innocent. I think that he was a compromised note. He was a compromised spy. So they knew he was a spy. He'd been a spy for a long time. This is Christopher Steele. He was a famous spy. And obviously they fed him disinformation. And they do that a lot. And that's probably why they moved those Rosneft shares to align with that. And you got to watch out for this stuff, dude. Russia is still run by communists. They're still Nazis, dude. Don't call Nazis. To call them what they are, dude. They're socialists, man. They're communists, dude. They're Marxists. Racism is racism. Communism is communism. Fascism is communism for racist people. There's no difference in between those two things, dude. The second bullet point features allegations against Manafort, including collusion with Russia, payments he received from the Ukrainian government, and loans he took from a bank CEO while he was pursuing a job in the Trump administration. Mueller was likely given authority to investigate whether Papadopoulos committed crimes by colluding with Russia or by acting as an unregistered agent of the government of Israel. In regards to Flynn, Mueller was asked to investigate whether he committed crimes by talking to Russian government officials during the FBI or during the Trump transition, whether he lied to the FBI about contacts he had with Russian government, whether he failed to report foreign contacts or income on his background investigation application, whether he properly registered as an agent of the Turkish government. The allegations referenced that the possibility that Flynn broke the law under the rarely enforced Logan Act, which criminalizes negotiations by unauthorized Americans with foreign governments having a dispute with the United States, which is largely meant actually to prevent people from doing fraud. It's not supposed to be like punish people for. You got to look up the history. That's why it's not enforceable, dude. You have to look at the history of why it was passed, and then you'll see, oh, okay, not going to be able to enforce that one because in this situation, because it's just so rare that people engage in fraud like that. It's not a very rare, common type of fraud where people are pretending to be U.S. government people, because you can just call the government, right? It used to be that you couldn't do that, and people could do that. But nowadays, you just can't get away with pretending like you're the government with like big money, because they track the money, right? The memo includes a bulleted list asking Mueller to investigate allegations against former Trump campaign associate Carter Page, former Trump campaign manager Paul Manafort, former Trump campaign policy advisor George Papadopoulos, and former Trump national security advisor Michael Flynn. So let's say that they knew it was Russian disinformation. Or they didn't totally know it was disinformation, but they're like, I mean, come on, man. Donald Trump doing golden showers, right? Come on, man. Come on. Because they got it from sources that have been historically good sources, they would still have to follow up on it. So it would still be a legitimate lead. I know people want to do things for political reasons, but I'm not going to point fingers because I haven't read everything recently enough to make a educated formal opinion on that. But this next story here from the Daily Mail: a rioter wearing a Joker mask is arrested for torching a Chicago cop car. Timothy O'Donnell, 31, was arrested by the FBI on Tuesday for allegedly torching the squad car during a protest in downtown Chicago on the weekend. But he had failed to do the smart thing and cover up his face tattoo, and it led to the police arresting him because they were able to identify the tattoo. And this is what the Hood Democrat, is he a Hood Democrat or is he Antifa? Looks more like Antifa to me. Yes, you can actually judge a book by its cover here. So these are the people that are Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter is a hashtag. Civil rights is a movement. Black Lives Matter is a riot and looting group that is composed of socialists who blame the 1% for their problems. Not going to sympathize with these people. We can watch police cars being destroyed here at the protest here in Chicago. I don't know about you, but definitely seems to me like the cops are the normal ones here. They just hate cops, dude. It's not that the cop killed somebody, because the vast majority of cops are not responsible for that. They hate cops because of the war on drugs. And because it's popular to be a cop killer in the city. They glorify being a cop killer out there. Flipping the cop car because, you know, it was the cop car paid for by the tax money that killed the unarmed black man. You know that black people don't have any sort of hand in their fate by the grades that they get in school. That poverty doesn't actually have any sort of effect on whether or not you commit crimes or go to jail. That having a father in your household doesn't affect the probability chance that you're going to end up in a prison or to have a wife. I'm glad I don't live there because I don't want to pay for that shit, dude. And so when they say Black Lives Matter, it's a cover for a riot and looting group. Nazis said they were working in the best interest of the people too, and that they were doing what they had a right to do. Because every tyrant does what they do because everybody's a tyrant but me. This next article from the Daily Mail, photojournalist tells how he was beaten up by cops as he covered peaceful quote unquote peaceful protest march in NYC. So I'm calling into question this peaceful protest narrative. I helped start the 2016 anti-Trump protests. We all said it was a peaceful protest, right? But there's a thing about this is that peaceful protests don't divulge into riots. And if they do, it's time to go home. If there's mass riots, it's time for everyone to go home. The party's over. It's not hashtag BLM anymore. It's BLM Antifa Nazi riot and looting group. You've completely destroyed the name of Eric Garner, of George Floyd, because we now know that he had a heart attack because he was doing meth. He assaulted a cop. And he resisted arrest, and that's why he had 4 cops on him in the fucking first place, dude. Because he was a bouncer. He was a big dude. He's a nice guy. Like every other big dude that goes to jail for a crime, dude. Yeah. Everybody else is a nice guy, too. Everybody else is a tyrant but me. But the truth of the matter is George Floyd passed off a counterfeit $20 bill because he was doing meth and fentanyl. Fentanyl, like the drug that kills people that only heroin addicts do. People that get hopped up on meth. I've known people like this. They go from crack to meth to heroin to crack to meth to crack to heroin to crack to meth to crack to heroin to crack and meth to heroin and meth to crack and meth and heroin. And then, as we all know, that's when people just die. They're getting it from the Mexican cartels. And people don't want to stop it because the Twitter is run by what? Feminists and immigrants. Immigrants don't want to have any sort of immigration laws biased towards them, so they don't want to touch the illegal immigrants. That's discrimination against them. The people who run the Twitter companies that are suppressing or all the social media companies that are suppressing your free speech, making it so that you can't, or you have to get quote unquote organic reach on Twitter. You can't. They don't serve politicians anymore, man. They only serve corporations. You got to have organic reach because Twitter is 80 or 60% Democrat. Most people who trend or do so because of some sort of liberal feel-good post that people click on because it makes them feel good. They like it. They support it. It fits their world narrative. And so that's who Jack Dorsey wants to promote in Twitter over the politicians who that's like the people, like the actual people who run our government, who are supposed to have equal opportunity to get elected. No. They only serve corporations. They're the ones who give you the microphone. They're the ones with the algorithm. They're the ones that control who sees your post. They're the ones that control the organic reach. It's not organic at all. 60% of them are liberals, but like only a third of the country's liberal. Why? Because people like their posts. Yeah, it's because people like their posts on Twitter and Facebook because it makes them feel good. It fits their narrative. And so these companies that are putting out all of this anti-cop rhetoric, like this next article from Daily Mail, photojournalist tells how he was beaten up by cops as he covered peaceful protest. Oh, sorry, I think I read the title here. Peaceful protest march in NYC. And so this is the narrative. This is called clickbait, race bait. And what they're doing is it's popular. It's that particular journalist, it's his opinion that's how it is. And they want to do something to help. These particular people are in Europe. So a lot of our problem comes from Europe because of their batshit crazy anti-hate speech laws instilled by former Nazis, right? You go, oh, no, we're not Nazis still. Yeah, right. Nazis were liberals. Far right means racist. Nazis killed white people. How are Nazis racist if they didn't kill Africans? If they targeted white people? They weren't. They were Marxist. They were Marxist. They lied about being racist to scare the Africans off, when in reality, they wanted socialism so everyone would be equal. Everyone would be equal. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you have to watch the other episode from June 3rd, 2020 on Really Simple News, where I explain this in detail, how the the Nazis coordinated with the Soviets to fake the invasion of Poland. The Soviets did not show up for like 2 weeks after the Nazis to have this fake invasion. And the reason for it was because it was better for them to fight the Russians and the allies on the other side than to fight the Africans. They can control, if they coordinated with the Russians, they would be able to coordinate both fronts, and then they'd be able to hit the other front harder because they thought they're fighting both sides rigorously, right? But no, it turns out to be just some trap to kill a bunch of poor people so they could all walk away with more money, because when you have socialism, you have to share with everybody. So you have to kill all the poor people in order to make that happen, and the rich people. So that's how these socialists and communists and Nazis and Antifa, they all work the same thing, dude. It's all repeating elements of human nature. And it works by getting you angry. It's called rage bait. It's called race bait. And what they're doing here is they're trying to paint a boogeyman. There is a boogeyman. The boogeyman is coming to get you. That's the thing about a boogeyman. A boogeyman has to be coming to get you, or it's not a boogeyman. That's the sole thing that makes a boogeyman different than any other kind of an enemy, is that a boogeyman can't go away. And it always has to be coming after you to keep you afraid. So this is what these journalists are doing with this race bait, rage bait, fem bait, clickbait, is they're trying to paint a narrative because it fits their worldview and people click on the articles. And you must become aware of this pattern because we are being manipulated by the mainstream media, by these hood Democrats, inner city black people, and other people from the city that got really shitty grades and have no chance of actually succeeding in life. So they blame white people for all of their problems. And they buy it because it gives them an advantage. It gives them someone to hate, to take out. They have, if everybody's a good person, up in here in the control booth, you can't target anybody. You have to target somebody because you hate them. And in order to do that, you have to demonize them, like they've been doing police officers. And they say it's always a quote-unquote white cop killing unarmed black man. And why? They can't say black man on meth and fentanyl resists arrest, assaults police officer, and dies of a heart attack possibly related to methamphetamines, because no one would care. That's not news, dude. Right. You're competing with the other crazed out black guys that died from that recently. There's a bunch of them, dude. It's not just George Floyd. There's a bunch of dudes that died from meth that way, dude. Right? It wouldn't be news. It's only news if it says white cop kills unarmed black man. And that's why here's another example here of race bait. So here again from the Daily Mail. Here, let me make this not so small real quick. The article says Minneapolis cops use force against black people 7 times more than they did against whites. Data shows Minneapolis police have used force against black people at 7. That's pretty sloppy journalism, dude. So, right, looks bad, right? What's wrong with it? Why is it fake news? Because the violent crime rate alone is 5 times higher, dude. See? This stuff is, once you start looking for the pattern, it's so easy to see, dude. They've been pulling the wool over our eyes, man. This deception is so obvious, right? You're like, oh, well, there's 25, it says violent assaults. It says simple assaults in the DOJ statistics. So there's also another one in there that's that blacks commit 200 unarmed or 200 aggravated assaults for every one that a white person commits against a black person. Okay. And it's this one. Sorry. I've looked at the numbers. They're true. Been on black people who are black say this shit too. Black conservatives are always harping on this one, dude. Yeah, there's 200 of them. Black people kill twice as many people at white people as white people kill black people. There's 6 times more black people in the United States, dude. 6 times, man. That means there's 12. The ratio is the 12x ratio of black people killing white people as opposed to white people killing black people, right? So now that you know the actual truth, Now we can see this article from the European Daily Mail is also too part of this fake news epidemic coming from outside of the country. It's not just the ivory tower liberals in America. Yes, it is actually too European ivory tower liberals. Some of the worst ivory tower liberals out there. These people are wingnuts. Like, honestly, man, like for real, some of the stupidest people in the world are Europeans, man. Whew. I mean, I love them. Don't get me wrong. I love Europeans. I would totally live in Europe because you guys are so stupid. You need me, right? I say what y'all need to hear. But they're getting into our politics, dude. They've been running all kinds of stories. I've covered a bunch of stories today, or not a bunch, but I've covered a couple of stories today about European media sources getting in on this whole George Floyd thing, like as if there's like any sort of incidences of they don't have police brutality problems in Europe against black people. Why the fuck are people in Europe? Why the fuck are people in Europe out protesting? It doesn't happen there, dude. It doesn't happen there. Why? Because the black people in America are fucking crazy, dude. Not all of them, no. I mean, but the ones up in the hood Democrats, bro. The hood Democrats are nuts, dude. Like, they have had so many drive-bys up in the hood, they don't even cover it anymore, dude. I was just like, oh, another drive-by in the hood. Like, oh, it's just black people, right? That's because they actually do that stuff, because the violent crime rate is through the roof. It's through the roof, dude. BLM has no right to protest. They have no right to protest. The group of people that they're talking about has a violence problem. That's why the cops are there all the time. Because these people made it popular to be a cop killer. They're selling drugs, dude, like meth, coke, heroin, PCP, fentanyl, flocka. Dude, they even got Jankum. Seriously, man. You got some hood-ass people selling up Jankum up on the street corner. I'm joking. That was totally a joke, dude. I'm totally joking. Jankum is like a fermented poop pee. And apparently you can get high off it if you ferment it. You put it in like you poop and pee in a bottle, and then you put a balloon over top of it. It fills up with gas, and you huff the gas. I don't know. I've never done it. Apparently it's like fucks you up. But don't try that at home, dude, because that's just crazy, dude. I've already covered that. Here's another example here. Another one from the Daily Mail. Chinese state newspaper claims U.S. is a failed state ruled by a racist president. The country that has 3.5 million Muslims in concentration camps says you're too racist. This country that killed hundreds of million Chinese under Mao's government says we're too racist. Woo. The article here from the Daily Mail again says Global Times slammed President Trump's leadership weak, irresponsible, and incompetent, and accused American politicians of blaming China for protests in the U.S. What are they trying to say here? Like, I mean, really, a smart person would look at this and they would go, China said that, right? No way in hell I'm going to listen to China, right? Like, that would just be crazy, dude. The article continues to read, Beijing state media has claimed the U.S. has crumbled into a failed state amid the ongoing rallies across America and blasted Donald Trump as a racist president. Global Times, a major Chinese propaganda tabloid, slammed President Trump as weak and irresponsible and incompetent, accused American politicians of blaming China for protests erupting in the United States. Dude, their opinion means nothing, dude. Why are they putting this article up here? The article continues to read, the U.S. has been rocked by 7 nights of trauma since... Okay, so it looks like they're actually trying to say that this is legit criticism, dude. I mean, here's fluff. We've got fluff. So here was the meat. You're supposed to do bottom line up front, and then this is fluff. It's all this just crap. Beijing's long been infiltrated by criticism, Western capital. It's all stuff. These are fluff. Like a lot of stuff, times they copy and paste this stuff in and then they change some words around because it's just fluff means that it's like stuff that they repeat in stories that they're trying to get you to read more ads and interact longer. Maybe some of their viewers like to read long stuff, but it definitely appears as if they're trying to use this as legit criticism. Apparently that works with their readers, man. But I mean, these people are totally, absolutely not on our side at all, dude. These Europeans, dude, they are on the side of fruitcake liberalism, where you have to be nice because they have hate speech laws. And so here is, do we have the video? Daily Mail is pretty good about having video. Oh, here's the video. I knew we had it. Here is the video of the ATM being blown up. Ooh. So here's the thieves. So what happened, the guy died like a day later or something. So one of these guys got injured. Is it that guy? Who got messed up, dude? I can't tell who's actually injured here. I think that's when he got hurt and then they took off. It says at least 10 machines were vandalized overnight Monday, mainly in a neighborhood convenience stores and gas stations, police said. They came as police have been trying to cope with large demonstrations against police brutality and widespread vandalism and theft from businesses in a number of area cities on Tuesday. Peaceful, quote-unquote, peaceful protests have been taking place at Rittenhouse Square in the wake of George Floyd's death because his heart stopped because he had been doing meth. And he assaulted a cop and resisted arrest. And then he had to have a bunch of cops jump on him, at which point in time he should have passed out had he not been doing meth. But because he's been doing meth and he has problems with his heart, instead of passing out, he had a heart attack. And then the fake news media put out all this clickbait saying, white cop killed unarmed black man. White cop killed unarmed black man. That's why they're rioting, is because of clickbait headlines, when the entire time a white officer is less likely to kill a black person than a black officer. Their entire narrative is a lie perpetrated by the mainstream media, social media, and socialists. It's not even a joke, dude. And they're just allowing this looting and rioting. They don't care, dude. Black people don't care. The only black people that care are the conservatives, dude. The rest of them are like, got what they deserve, dude. It's a means to an end, man. In this next article from Newsweek, Russia is developing a coronavirus treatment that disinfects the body with UV light from the inside. Huh. Well, who knew you could disinfect your insides with UV light? As if sunlight kills bacteria or something. I've never heard that. Never heard about sunlight killing bacteria or viruses. So this article says scientists in Russia are developing a treatment for coronavirus that uses ultraviolet to disinfect the body from inside. Andrea Gorsvik from a nuclear agency Rosatom said in an interview with Country Rosatom, the agency's newsletter. Goverdowski said physicists at the Institute of Physics and Power Engineering are currently developing methods to combat viruses, including SARS-CoV-2, which causes COVID-19. He said they have called the project luminous, quote-unquote, luminous gas. So far, no one has managed to hold UV disinfection inside of a person, he said. We figured out how to do this. We select molecules and gas components that, when inhaled, remain activated and emit ultraviolet light directly inside of the lungs. We hope the addition to coronavirus and our method that can be used to treat tuberculosis, oncology, and other diseases. So you heard that right. That's why they call it fake news, dude, because some reporter goes with it because they want a sensational headline. They thought they got a scoop. They got a story. They got white cop kills unarmed black man. They got to be the first one to be in the clickbait. Like they were here when Donald Trump said, hey, can you do that? And all the liberals said, oh my God, he said disinfect your insides. Donald Trump's a lunatic. As it turns out, they're the lunatic. They have Trump derangement syndrome. And the entire time, as it turns out, you can disinfect your insides. And with that, we have more shamings of Latinos to do. So here we have an incident where a Mexican police officer killed someone by putting their neck over their knee on their neck. Apparently, this is dangerous. The police should be trained. They should be trained to do this. You don't need to riot to do that, dude. There's something called a ballot box. There's also something called social media, because all of these Black Lives Matter people seem to be taking advantage of this hashtag BLM movement. Or it's just no. BLM is a riot and looting group, right? Civil rights is a movement, dude. BLM's a hashtag and a riot and looting group, dude. Civil rights doesn't need any other tag other than civil rights. It doesn't. But all of these movements, dude, all these hashtag movements, they all go bunk. They all go sour. They're all stupid. Like Me Too. Me Too was so stupid. That Ronan Farrow guy, that dude's such a snake, dude. That dude's a piece of shit, man. Him and his mom made up child rape accusations against Woody Allen. Destroyed his life. Such a great, marvelous, genius movie producer. And the whole thing was bullshit, dude. And this Ronan Farrow dude, his mom, Mia Farrow, brainwashed this kid to be a pathological liar. And he puts out some telltale book about how Matt Lauer raped these women. But the entire time, it was other people that worked with Matt Lauer that were accused of rape. But Ronan Farrow said that that he made it sound like Matt Lauer did it by omitting words. Like he said, that when Matt Lauer worked on the set, these women got raped, and then it made it sound like it was him that did it. And the whole time it turns out it wasn't him. It was other people that they worked with. But Matt Lauer got Ronan Farrow fired. Or at least he thinks so. And he blamed him. And so he came back and got retribution by making up false rape allegations against the guy. These are the ivory tower liberals. Dude, they're not all pathological liars like that, but they are actually pathological liars. This next article from BBC News, Snapchat stops promoting Donald Trump due to quote-unquote racial violence. Excuse me? The social network says it will drop Trump from the Discover over quote racial violence and injustice. What the fuck, dude? I'm sorry, what? As a result, it will no longer feature the app's Discover. He will no longer be featured in the app's Discover section. The firm said it would not amplify voices who incite racial violence and injustice. The decision follows Trump saying that quote unquote vicious dogs and quote unquote ominous weapons would have been used on protesters if they had breached the White House fence. Dude, he's the commander of the military, dude. They're trying to police the commander of the military. Be a public announcement. It's not just some dude named Donald Trump posting this stuff on Twitter, dude. It's the commander of the U.S. military who has the authority to kill U.S. citizens. He has the authority to command drone strikes against you. Against you. And he made a public announcement saying, yo, bro, you looting, we shooting. That's what he said. But this is the thing. It's a narrative, dude. They want to control. They want to be able to take away your voice so that they can control the political process, because these tech companies are run by these ivory tower liberals and rad femmes who are idealistic socialists. I know these people. I'm a computer programmer. I know all about the socialism. I've been to their socialism meetings. Trust me, comrade. I know the lingo. I used to be socialist. In fact, I definitely could advocate for socialism way better than any one of you people could. But the fact is that I know the evils of socialism and that the bad far outweighs the good in socialism. Socialism is all about taking the product that somebody else could have saved for themselves and done a good job trying to save, and they could have stretched it out, made it go a long way, and you give it away to a bunch of people that don't care about it because they didn't work for it. They don't know what to do with it. They didn't want it. They didn't need it. This is the same way with people who rob people, dude. People who rob people. I've been robbed a number of times. They don't, the product doesn't go very far. Like they steal like $1,000 from you. It's gone in a couple of days. You earn $1,000. You save your money. That stuff lasts a long time, dude. You invest it in some stuff that's not disposable, and you're going to have a lot. Like it lasts a long time, dude. But if you don't work for it, you just blow it. It just disappears. And that's the fundamental problem with socialism. Is it's like somebody blowing out their credit. They just keep swiping the card because they're getting a dopamine hit. And then eventually nobody's really working or making anything. And then the money's not worth anything. It's stupid. Everything about it, socialism is stupid. It's crafted by people who weren't doing well in life. Dude, you should be weary about policies crafted by people who didn't do well in school and aren't doing very well. This is what Donald Trump is, the 1%. Donald Trump is the Jews. He's the king of the Jews, dude. He is the great white savior because he says the things that need to be said. People hate him. Why? Because he represents the 1%. They can't buy Donald Trump off because Donald Trump has enough money to where he can't be bought off. And this is why the ivory tower liberals and the Bernie bros and the Antifa and the Latinx, it is the Latinx, not the Latinos like the conservative Latin ones. We love the Latinas, it's not the Latinx. Come on, man, they're Latinos, bro. They all love that, oh. The article continues to read, it follows Twitter's decision to hide some of the president's posts. Snapchat, parent company of Snap, said racial violence and injustice has no place in our society, and we stand together with all who seek peace, love, equality, and justice for America. I'm just absolutely so confused about this. When has Donald Trump ever engaged in racial violence, dude? And injustice? Oh, you mean when there was floods of illegal immigrants coming up from Mexico to try to get all of the stuff from us because they don't give a rat's ass if they don't want the white man to stay in control of America. Do they want Latinos in control of America? Every goddamn last one of those illegal immigrants wants their people in control. Every last one of them. You're fooling yourself if you think that they don't want to be in control of the country they're in. Everybody does, dude. But we got a situation where they're just, it's like, oh yeah, the kids in the cages. Like, where do you think those cages came from, dude? They were there from the Obama administration. Because when you have 5,000 people come your way, guess what? It doesn't always turn out exactly perfect where everybody has a cushy seat and you can social distance, dude. When there's 5,000 people coming in, it's like you have 5,000 people. I know that sounds so surprising and shocking, but when there's 5,000 people who come up your way, it's not going to be perfect, dude. It's not going to be perfect. I have a child who's 11. My son loves to hide in confined spaces. If he saw that dog kennel, he'd be in it. He'd get his blankets and his pillow, and he would be there pretending like he's doing a 24-hour challenge to stay in the thing, dude. Yeah. Nobody wants the illegal immigrants here except for radicalized liberals, dude. Nobody. We have laws that say they're not allowed to be there. We have anti-harboring laws that say you are guilty of a crime if you encourage them to stay. That's the thing about these liberals. They internalize being a criminal. That's why they are the Nazis. Nazis were criminals. They robbed and killed the Jews because they blamed them for the stock market crash for hyperinflation. Dude, that's why they didn't kill the Jews because they're white supremacists. That's crazy, dude. They killed the Jews because they were rich and they controlled. They were the ones that got in control. They were Marxist. They were communist. And they think Donald Trump is a racist, white supremacist, white nationalist. It's crazy, dude. It's crazy. And it's because of radicalization from the Southern Poverty Law Center through rigging of Wikipedia, through media companies attempting to get come up on articles, like to get money for ads. That's all this stuff is all basically just people making money, giving you whatever you want to hear. And this entire narrative is just out of line because of like racial violence. I'm sorry. What world do these people live in? Like what racial violence? Oh, you mean the rioting and looting against white shop owners? Yeah, that's Nazi as fuck, dude. You can't get any more Nazi than a bunch of socialists destroying white shop owners' businesses and killing them. Okay, so look. Here's one. Next article from Daily Mail. At least 11 people have died during the protest in 1 week since George Floyd's killing. And in the night of broken glass, where the Nazis ransacked and destroyed and looted the Jews' businesses, there was 91 people killed. So we are officially 12.09% Nazi. Congratulations. Democrats are officially the most Nazi people in America. Where's the next one here? Well, I knew I had more articles. Next article from the Daily Mail. Gang kidnapped Mexico City bank worker and strapped a fake bomb belt on her to steal $650,000. A bank employee identified by authorities as Karina was on her way to BBVA branch Mexico City last Friday morning when a minivan intercepted her car and forced her to get in. Yeah, these are the illegal immigrants that are coming in. They do stuff like this. A large percentage of the illegal immigrants coming in are funneling narcotics for the cartel. It is indeed, in fact, true. You can look up the arrest records and you can see that 27% of these arrests in the federal level for these drug crimes are all illegal immigrants, mostly from Mexico. Dude, these people in Mexico are, one, they're white supremacists. They're hella white supremacists. They don't like black people. They don't like Amerindians because they were conquistadors and they oppressed the American Indians. They took them as slaves, dude. Mexicans are the most racist people out there. Like, dude, okay, hold on. Italians can be pretty racist, dude. Like, Italians can be really fucking racist, man. But Mexicans, though, are as racist as Italians, dude. Probably even more so. No, because right now, it's Italy. Right now, Italy is not. Okay, right now, Mexico's way, way topping them on white supremacy and racism. Italy's under the anti-hate speech laws. So they don't have that shit going on right now. Right now, Mexico's the hotbed of white supremacy. These are the illegal immigrants that we're not allowed to kick out. That there's 20 illegal immigrants for every homeless person in the street. Why are the homeless people in the street? Because they're getting the dope from the cartel. They're getting all spun out on drugs. 4 out of 5 of these guys get across the border, but they're not the drug mules. No, they're moving in the drugs through other methods, various methods, through disposable people. So all of this talk about the white man being so bad, why don't you go move to Mexico, dude? If you really think white people are so bad, if you're black, why don't you move back to Africa, dude? You wouldn't. The only person that would want to move back to Africa is the wingnut with the African studies degree, dude. That's because Africa's a shithole compared to the United States. That's because China is a shithole compared to the United States. That's because India is a shithole compared to the United States. That's because, what's that communist country in South America? Not Argentina. I should know this. I feel bad. Like, it's Colombia. Sorry. Hugo Chavez, right? That place. At this point in time, I can't remember, and that's why I got to look it up, dude. It's not Colombia, Venezuela. Yeah, Venezuela. Shithole. Socialist. These are the people coming up here, dude. Like, we'd like it if more Brazilians came up here, because Brazilians are totally cool. Brazil's not a shithole. But that's the thing. The Brazilians don't want to leave. The Brazilians don't migrate up to the United States, dude. Brazil is larger than the United States. Brazil's huge. And they don't come up here. Why? Because it doesn't suck there. People migrate away from places that suck and they go towards places that don't suck. That's why people come here from Mexico, dude. It's because Mexico sucks, dude. They're like, nope. Can't enforce illegal immigration. Why? That's racist. Because that's white nationalists. Because you think the illegal immigrants be replacing the white people. Only there's one problem. It's true. First off, it's actually true that if you don't guard your border, illegal immigrants will replace your culture. No shit, dude. No shit. That's why we have immigration laws, dude. No, we like the Latinos. Why? Because they vote for Democrats. They vote for Democrats. Dude, like 25% of the babies born in the United States are now from immigrants, mostly from Mexico, dude. Mostly from Mexico. 1 out of 20 people in Mexico is in the United States illegally. And this is what we have. They don't send their best. Just like Donald Trump said, yeah, sure, some of them are good people. But a lot of them are extremely bad people. And they need to be kicked out of our country because they're in bed with terrorist cartels. They're here illegally. They have a high birth rate, and our natives have a low birth rate. And when the natives have a low birth rate, guess what happens? And the illegal immigrants have a high birth rate, and they don't assimilate into your culture. They override your culture, and they wipe it out because they didn't assimilate. Now, if we kicked out the illegal immigrants, now the Latinos would integrate with the Americans, and they wouldn't be an underclass. So it's not white supremacy. It's not. It's common sense. It's like reality, man. But these liberals want to sell you on this idea that you can't do anything to stop immigration. Why? Because it goes against what the people on Facebook have been saying. Because the people vote for them. They want the illegal immigrants because that's how the Democrats maintain control of California. They want to get more votes in the House because it's dependent on how many votes they have. It's not like the Senate where they have 2 people per state. It's like the House where they have X percent of 365 based upon the population. Yeah, that's a problem. When you start funneling illegal immigrants into California, they don't stop them. Like in LA, it's like 37% Latinos. Vast majority of them are illegal. Vast majority. They don't like maybe 27% of them speak English. Vast majority of speaking Spanish, dude. And then they grow. And then they move out. They go from California to Oregon, where I live. And then next thing you know, we have a bunch of homeless transients doing Mexican cartel dope, taking shits on our sidewalk and banging dope. And next thing you know, when you walk down the streets of my town, now it looks like these liberal ivory tower cities in California where, like in San Francisco, there's homeless people doing heroin and taking shits everywhere. And then that's on my streets and our rent goes up. And then next thing you know, the Latinos, boom. And then now 1 out of 20 people in my state's an illegal immigrant. 1 out of 20 people in Mexico is here illegally. Our local population, my generation had a birth rate decline of like 25%. All of the rest of the generations are worse, the new ones. So our population's going down. And then the Latino population explodes because of illegal immigration. That's not fair. That's illegal. That is illegal. You're not allowed to encourage them to stay. Mexico's a shithole. We don't want to go there. There's some nice places in Mexico, but for the most part, it's a shithole. My dad lived in Mexico. It's a shithole, dude. We don't want people coming up here taking over from Mexico where they're white supremacist and they don't like black people or American Indians. We want the majority of people in the United States to maintain control because it's called a fucking democracy. Right? You can't pander to these minority groups because you're not helping the majority of people, dude. These ivory tower liberal people are toxic, poisonous scum. They sit there in the ivory tower trying to tell us policing our speech. They're the ones with the money controlling it. They're the ones controlling the hiring process, making sure that immigrants are controlling it so that it biases it against the white man because they need more white women and less white men because feminism and social justice. And then it ends up to be a situation where now our men are not getting white. The women they convinced to go work in the ivory towers because they're geeks and they can't get any other women. So they need women to come in there and work because they're so pathetic with women. They can't get any women. So they have to basically give lip service to everything the privileged white woman says. Anytime she says, I'm oppressed, I'm a man. It is the imaginary misogynistic pig that's making it so that I have a glass ceiling and I can't move up. And so I need to go and put off having a child and kill off my genetic line so that I can make Jack Dorsey rich. Fuck those people. Fuck ivory tower liberals. Fuck illegal immigration. Fuck bullshit propaganda that prevents you from speaking out against things. It's illegal for you to harbor illegal immigrants. You're like, oh, that's hate speech. Like, dude, it's illegal for you to harbor illegal immigrants. You trying to say that's hate speech is illegal because you're harboring illegal immigrants. You are required by law to say, no, they have to leave because you can't harbor an illegal immigrant. You can't do that. Why? Because it's federally illegal. Because every country out there has immigration laws, dude. They all do that. They all bias their immigration laws to help their own people because that's fucking common sense. But I suppose it's better that we just have no borders so that we can allow terrorist cartels to kidnap people like they do in Mexico City. Because, that's real smart, right? We need to build the wall. It needs to be at least 50 feet tall. And it needs to have a moat with alligators and sharks across the whole border. All the way up the West Coast, all the way up through the Canada border, all the way down through the East Coast. Sharks in a moat. No, dude, it's a zoo, dude. No, it's not there to kill illegal immigrants. It's a zoo. If you fall into the lion pit at the zoo, you're trespassing. And with that, I must bid you adieu. Thank you for watching Real Simple News on June 3rd, 2020. When there's rioting and looting by black people and Antifa Nazis in the streets in the United States. And until next time, I am Cale McCullough, captain of the Kabuki Starship, wishing you a good night, good evening, farewell, aloha, sayonara,